Ladies and gentlemen, we've all been told that communication is key to speak up, to voice our opinions, to never stay silent, and for the most part, that's true. But today, I want to challenge that idea, not to reject it, but to refine it. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is stay silent. Let me explain. A few years ago, I was sitting across from a friend who had just lost someone they loved. They weren't looking for advice. They weren't asking for help. They just needed space to feel. I had so many words in my head, cliches, comforts, fixes, but instead I stayed silent. I listened. I was present. And in that moment, my silence said more than words ever could. Here's what I've learned. Silence, when chosen with intention, is not weakness. It's wisdom. There are three crucial moments when silence becomes not only powerful but essential. Anger, fear, frustration, these are states of reaction, not reflection. When we speak from these places, we're not responding, we're defending, we're attacking, we're trying to win. But leadership, real leadership, isn't about winning. It's about listening, understanding, and sometimes waiting. When we pause in emotionally charged moments, we create space. Space for perspective, space for grace, space for better decisions. We live in a noisy world. Everyone's talking, tweeting, typing. But when someone opens up, really opens up, they don't need noise. They need presence. If we interrupt them with solutions, opinions, or comparisons, we rob them of the courage it took to speak. Silence, in this case, is respect. It says, I hear you, I'm with you, keep going. Too often, we speak with certainty in situations that demand curiosity. We assume, we judge, we act fast, and we get it wrong. But when we stay silent, even for a moment, we signal humility. We make room for truth. We remind ourselves that listening is not a passive act. It's an active choice to learn before leading. So no, I'm not saying don't speak. I'm saying choose your words with the same care you choose your silences. Silence is not the absence of communication. Sometimes it is the deepest form of it. The best leaders, the best teammates, the best people, they don't just know when to speak. They know when not to. Thank you. Would you like a shorter or more casual version for a classroom or different setting? We often view silence as weakness or passivity, but when used with intention, it becomes a tool of strength. In moments where words may cause harm or dilute meaning, silence becomes a more honest form of expression, a choice, not an absence. When emotions run high, whether it's anger, frustration, or fear, silence offers us a pause. Speaking in emotional states leads to reaction, not reflection. Silence in these moments is self-control. It gives us room to respond wisely rather than regret impulsively. When someone opens up, our instinct is often to speak, to help, fix, or share our own story. But real connection happens when we stay silent and truly listen. Our presence, not our advice, is what gives others the courage to keep sharing. In discussions where we don't have all the information, silence reflects humility. It shows that we're willing to listen before jumping to conclusions. It creates a culture of curiosity over certainty and learning over assuming. True leaders understand that influence isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions, listening deeply, and knowing when to stay quiet. Silence can amplify trust far more than rushed words ever could. Sometimes, silence itself is the message. In grief, in awe, in solidarity, words fall short. In those crucial moments, silence becomes a shared language of understanding. It's not about withholding, it's about being fully present. Let me know if you'd like these points formatted as a slide deck outline or turned into a handout. When emotions are high, the instinct is to speak, to defend, argue, or express frustration. But in these moments, our words are rarely thoughtful. They're reactive. Reacting in anger or fear often leads to damage to relationships, to trust, to clarity. What we say in seconds of heat can take months or years to repair. Silence, in contrast, gives us a pause. It slows everything down. That pause isn't about avoiding the issue, it's about protecting the relationship. It's a moment to breathe, observe, and allow emotions to settle before choosing words intentionally. Great leaders and emotionally intelligent people understand this. Stillness isn't weakness, it's discipline. The ability to remain silent in the face of provocation is a superpower. It allows space for better responses, not just louder ones. In emotionally charged situations, don't aim to win the moment, aim to preserve the bigger picture. And sometimes that begins with saying nothing at all. When someone chooses to open up to share a struggle, a fear, or a deep emotion, they're not looking for quick answers. They're looking for presence. They want to feel seen, not solved. But many of us rush to fill that space with advice, comparisons, or stories of our own. We mean well, but unintentionally, we shift the focus away from them and onto ourselves. Silence in these moments is a gift. It says, I'm here. This moment is yours. Take your time. When we stay silent and truly listen, we create safety. That silence becomes a signal that this is a space where emotions are welcome, where no one is being judged, and where healing can begin. And ironically, in those quiet moments, we often say more than we ever could with words. So next time someone is vulnerable with you, remember, they don't need you to speak, they need you to stay silent, steady, and present. We live in a world where people speak quickly, often before they fully understand. We interrupt, we assume, we offer opinions without context. Why? Because silence makes us uncomfortable. We feel the need to say something to prove we know, to assert our presence. But here's the truth. You don't need to speak to show strength. You need to listen to show respect. When we choose silence in conversations where we don't yet have the full picture, it communicates humility. It shows we value the other person's experience more than our own assumptions. It says, I don't know everything, but I'm here to understand. This is especially true in conflict, debate, or moments of tension. Speaking too soon can inflame a situation, but listening, really listening, cools the temperature. It invites dialogue instead of debate. Silence, in this sense, becomes a form of leadership. It tells the other person, your words matter. I'm not here to overpower, I'm here to learn. And in a noisy world, that kind of humility isn't just rare, it's powerful. Would you like to move on to Keynote 5? We often associate leadership with speaking, giving direction, inspiring teams, commanding attention. But the best leaders know that what you don't say is just as important as what you do. Because leadership isn't about being the loudest in the room. It's about being the most aware. There are moments when people don't need a pep talk, they need quiet confidence. There are times when your silence allows others to step up, share, or shine. In those moments, staying quiet isn't passive, it's strategic. When a leader chooses silence, they model trust, trust in their team, trust in the process, trust in their ability to listen before acting, and perhaps most importantly, silence shows restraint, a rare but essential quality in leadership. Anyone can fill a room with words, but it takes character to hold back, to let others speak, and to know your voice is strongest when it's used with intention. So ask yourself, not just what should I say, but also, is this a moment to speak, or a moment to stay silent? Because great leaders don't just lead with their voice, they lead with their presence and their pause. Some of life's most meaningful moments are the ones where no words are spoken at all. When someone is grieving, when you're sitting in awe of something beautiful, or when you stand beside someone in quiet support, silence becomes the message. It becomes a shared space where presence says everything that words can't. We often think that to be helpful, we must say something, but sometimes words dilute the depth of what's happening. They try to explain the unexplainable. In moments of loss, silence says, I'm here and you're not alone. In moments of joy, it says, this is bigger than both of us. And in moments of solidarity, it says, I stand with you, no words needed. These are sacred pauses, brief windows where silence becomes sacred connection. We feel more, we understand more, we communicate soul to soul without uttering a sound. So remember, not everything meaningful needs to be spoken. Sometimes, the deepest impact comes from simply being there quietly, completely, and fully present.